Right, let's move on now to the other big story coming from all of this. US basketball star Brittney Griner has been released. She has been freed from a Russian prison. But her freedom comes at a price. The US has exchanged a prisoner with Russia to secure Griner's freedom. The prisoner we're talking about is Viktor Bout, an arms dealer known as the Merchant of Deaths. The 32-year-old WNBA star landed in San Antonio earlier today. Griner came back home after spending nearly 10 months in Russian prisons. The two-time Olympic gold medalist was arrested in Moscow on February 17th. She was caught with vape cartridges that contained cannabis oil. It is legal chronic pain medication in the US but banned in Russia. The prisoner swap took place at the Abu Dhabi airport in the UAE. These are visuals from that exchange. You can see the Russian arms dealer being warmly received. On Thursday night, he landed in Moscow. He was greeted by his family as he left the plane and given a hero's welcome by the Russian media. Take a look.
Виктор,
Спасибо
как
большое.
вы добрались?
Ну, вроде добрался, это самое главное.
Мы вас, конечно, поздравляем и горячо приветствуем здесь, в России. Как вообще вы узнали о том, что вот вас собираются вернуть на родину?
Ну, вот посреди ночи просто подняли, сказали, собирайся, и все. Никакой особой предварительной информации не было.
Но вы не знали даже, куда вас везут, вам ничего не говорили?
Понятно было, что как бы ситуация как складывалась, так что...
Как вас отпустили? Вот с какими-то словами, я знаю, что вы в тюрьме стали таким героем среди заключенных американских.
Возможности не было, было где-то 3 часа ночи, поэтому все еще как бы были закрыты, поэтому даже ни с кем попрощаться не удалось.
Но что вы собираетесь делать теперь здесь, оказавшись в России в первую очередь?
Рано эти вопросы задавать, давайте.
Хорошо, оставим Виктора общаться с семьей.
US President Joe Biden had announced Griner's release with great fanfare, but the Russian media has been saying that Putin got the better deal. People have been trolling Biden for the swap. After all, Viktor Bout is a notorious arms dealer. He's also known as the sanctions buster for his ability to get around arms embargoes. Seeing as there's a war going on, he may prove to be very useful to Vladimir Putin, so it's no wonder that the Russian media sounds triumphant. And Biden's now facing flag for another thing. Who he managed to exchange for Bout. Griner is a high-profile athlete. She isn't the only American incarcerated by Russians. They have also detained former US Marine Paul WION. WION has been in prison since 2018. He's serving a 16-year sentence for espionage. The US says he's been wrongfully detained but has not been able to secure his release. While announcing Griner's release, Biden said he had not forgotten about WION.
We never forgot about Brittney. We've not forgotten about Paul WION, who's been unjustly detained in Russia for years. This was not a choice of which American to bring home. We brought home Trevor Reed when we had a chance early this year. Sadly, for totally illegitimate reasons, Russia is treating Paul's case differently than Brittney's. And while we have not yet succeeded in securing Paul's release, we are not giving up. We will never give up.
Now, we still have Fred Weir with us to discuss the consequences of this prisoner swap. Fred, Viktor Bout has been sent home to Russia. He's a convicted Russian arms dealer. His life inspired a Hollywood film. He's known as the Merchant of Death. Give our viewers a sense of who he really is and why does he matter to Vladimir Putin? Many have called him an intelligence asset.
Nobody can answer that question. He is an enigma. And part of the reason, I guess, he's being repatriated, and this is not, I mean, this is the culmination of 15 years of Russian efforts to get him back, I think is because he's kept his silence. He probably knows a lot and did not divulge it, even in the conditions of American prison. So there is something there about Viktor Bout, right, which the Russian establishment has every reason to be proud of for getting him back, but we may never know. It is a pity. I was writing about Brittney Griner earlier this year. You know, she is a victim very much. She's a beautiful person and a great athlete. And the punishment that she got was clearly demonstrative. It isn't what Russian justice would do to the minor infraction she committed under normal circumstances. She was clearly taken for purposes of organizing this exchange, and the Russians, I guess, are proud of themselves for achieving it. But it's a bit of a disgrace. I mean, it's good that she's free, but sad that she was taken away. She was one of those Americans who was willing to come to Russia and play in Russian basketball and made good friends here. You know, her own teammates came and testified for her at her trial here in Moscow. So anyway, that episode is over, and I guess the Russians can claim victory, and I guess we'll also never know the truth, the whole truth about Viktor Bout.
Right, as you said, Viktor Bout is truly an enigma. Now, thanks for speaking to us, Fred, and thanks for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.